as Americans, waiting on the cherubims and chariots to carry us. Cause we're living here in sin, we're near the end, this is revelation. Die at any cost with no hesitation. For our rights and reputation, to be free is expectation with no underestimation, and let it be. Next hanging, it was fortune, now we resort to 4chan. Domestic or foreign, the eagle will soar again. Since Damascus, they wanted the trashes. Topple us to ashes to turn around. Damascus as another person passes from COVID just to vaxes. We're drowning in taxes. Big Pharma wants to access with the critical masses. In fear from the media and liberal fascist propaganda feeding ya. So be obedient, or they won't be so lenient, says CNN and all the other TV deviants. There's a storm coming, it's been forthcoming while we war drumming on our shore. Hit the floor running, when's the Lord coming? We need more loving in our core. We've been poor, struggling, can't afford nothing. Won't die for nothing. Won't die for nothing. Gotta ride for something. Won't die for nothing. Won't die for nothing. We as deplorables gaze into the portal of the new world order. Everything immoral and horrible, evil became the normal, and war was unavoidable. Everything historical was destroyed and pulled. Tech became portable, designed to spy on you. And cancer is a weapon, so your love will die on you. Look at our schools, they're ran by fools. Truth is being banned, ever expanding rules. Time to dance with wolves when you deal with coyotes. Preying on these kids and they wanna blindfold me. They lie boldly and straight to your face. Won't hesitate to offer you if you don't stay in your place. The dream became a disgrace, the land of the waste. Breaking down the family with whatever it takes. Leftist ideology is the Antichrist. We'll take back freedom but only at a price. There's a storm coming, it's been forthcoming while we war drumming on our shore. Hit the floor running, when's the Lord coming? We need more loving in our core. We've been poor, struggling, can't afford nothing. Won't die for nothing. Won't die for nothing. Gotta ride for something. Won't die for nothing. Won't die for nothing. We as humans are products of what we're consuming. In a state of emergency and confusion. Data intrusion with foreign collusion. Fuses lit, the storm is looming. People are fuming, refuse to quit. We are at war with ideology, political Marxism. It's a stark system to put you in a dark prison. Choices all feminists and marked Christians. Start division, then disarm, so let your heart listen. Abortion, extortion, reality out of proportion. They're making a fortune by forcing us some horseshit. Dead bodies in Benghazi, pretend that it's Nazis. Princes die, paparazzi, connected dots. See Illuminati and pop culture and Hollywood. Hiroshima, Nagasaki, but only God is good. It goes deeper while we eager to hunt. Now it's follow the leader, and that leader is Trump. There's a storm coming, it's been forthcoming while we war drumming on our shore. Hit the floor running, when's the Lord coming? We need more loving in our core. We've been poor, struggling, can't afford nothing. Won't die for nothing. Won't die for nothing. Gotta ride for something. Won't die for nothing. Won't die for nothing. There's a storm coming, it's been forthcoming while we war drumming on our shore. Hit the floor running, when's the Lord coming? We need more loving in our core. We've been poor, struggling, can't afford nothing. Won't die for nothing. Won't die for nothing. Gotta ride for something. Won't die for nothing. Won't die for nothing.
Woo! Yeah. Good
Love it.
morning, good evening, wherever you are across the nation and around the world. This is Deja Brew, and we are waking you up to truth one sip at a time. Welcome back to the show, James. Today, we're talking about 9/11.
Big 9/11. It's going to be an exciting show. There's actually a lot to say on this. I don't think we could touch on all of it, but we're going to do our best.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot to touch on, and I want to start with showing this clip.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I wanted to talk about some strange and unusual things that happened in and around the Twin Towers and the complex in the weeks leading up to September 11th. This video is simply exploring some of the oddities surrounding the World Trade Center in the days leading up to the tragic event. And the first one being the security system failures along with the power shutdowns. One of the most bizarre things that happened before 9/11 was a reported security shutdown and power down event that happened inside the Twin Towers on the weekend before the attacks. Now, understand the timeline. The attacks happened on Tuesday morning. This would be the Saturday and Sunday right before the attacks. Normally, a place like the World Trade Center had a advanced security system with 24/7 surveillance, yet in the days leading up to the attack, something strange happened. There was reported missing security camera footage. After September 11th, investigators found a significant amount of security footage from inside and around the World Trade Center was missing or unavailable. This is highly unusual because the World Trade Center had an extensive surveillance system that should have recorded everything. Some footage that did exist has never been publicly released. An IT worker that worked in the South Tower talked about the strange power down event that happened on September 8th and September 9th. The South Tower underwent a full power down, something that had never happened before, at least since this worker had began working there. During the power down event, it was reported the security cameras were, of course, offline. Electronic access systems were not working. Unidentified work crews were going in and out of the building. The worker described it as the only time he has ever seen such a huge shutdown at the World Trade Center. Some have suggested it's related to maintenance or system upgrades, but no official records confirming this have ever been released. To be honest,
Now, had you ever heard about that part?
I've heard about a lot of anomalies like leading up to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've heard quite a bit of them, and this is definitely. Well, there was one in Codex 911 that talked about weird stuff going on.
See, I knew about the like the furnace system
Mhm.
being upgraded and worked on a couple of days before, but I'd never heard about the whole full power grid going down for it. So this was really new to me.
the
Yeah.
details surrounding the shutdown are very hazy and murky in regards to it, although it is very interesting if it is true. The next thing I wanted to bring up was actually an individual by the name of John O'Neill, who was a counter-terrorist expert and a former FBI
Talk
agent.
about 'em.
O'Neill joined the
Yep.
FBI in 1976. There, he would quickly develop a reputation as a tough, driven, and outspoken agent. By the 1990s, he became one of the agency's top counterterrorism experts. His deep focus on Osama bin Laden and Islamic extremism came after several key attacks, including the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. There were several other attacks involving Islamic extremists, which prompted O'Neill to push for more aggressive investigations into Al Qaeda, warning that bin Laden was planning something much larger. As head of FBI's counterterrorism unit in the late 1990s, O'Neill was one of the few American officials who saw bin Laden as a significant threat. His warnings, however, were dismissed or obstructed. He believed that Al Qaeda was planning.
And the reason for that, I believe, has a lot to do with John McCain actually being the one who funded and created Al Qaeda or didn't create Al Qaeda. Al Qaeda created the Taliban and the ISIS groups, but funded Al Qaeda, gave them supplies, gave them Nikes, gave them Toyota trucks, like gave them all kinds of things, right? Um, to make them more dangerous. Because from what I know about Osama bin Laden in his days leading up to, prior to September 11th,
Yeah.
he was like their Nelson Mandela dude,
Yeah.
right? He spoke of peace and stuff.
Yeah. He was a
Am I
religious
right?
leader.
Right. Like he was a religious leader. And still to this day, I just watched a video of a young man that went there and asked a bunch of people, what their opinions of him are. And still to this day, they think he's a great man and that he wasn't responsible for this. They don't think he did this. I think they were set up.
Um,
It's my opinion. I think they were set up because we wanted this to happen. And there were specific reasons behind why they wanted it to happen, more than one.
yeah, and the whole Osama bin Laden, that goes way back to the 70s with the Taliban and the Afghan war against Russia, because even Hillary Clinton was in an investigation with Congress. She was like, "Yeah, we were funding the Mujahideen to overthrow the Afghan government, and they were actively putting the Taliban in place." And
Yeah.
that was it's funny you brought up O'Neill, because that was one of the guys like I was just kind of reading up on,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't mention how he when Bush got in power, like he was forced out, like he quit.
Yep.
And then he got a job at the World Trade, and that's where he met his fate. But yeah, he was very outspoken, and they kept telling him, "Shut up! You're not allowed to go after Al Qaeda or any of its syndicates, even within the USA." And that's even prior. And like you mentioned, that's because they had like three big plans. A lot of people were talking about, like, one was the airplane, which turned out to be TWA. Then you had another one, a major bombing, which was Oklahoma City. Then you had the last one was a Pearl Harbor type of event, big major one that was going to really set off kind of this Islamic crusade. Now was Osama bin, like, I don't know his exact religious philosophies that he taught, but if we look at Islam as an orthodox religion that it is, it's kind of the anti-Christ type religion. Even you look at the Book of David where they're talking about how um
Okay.
the
Well,
message.
no offense, but I don't want to get into the whole whose religion is good and bad stuff.
I got you.
I totally respect all religions,
I
and
do too.
I think there are bad factors to every religion, including Christianity. So I like to leave religion out of it.
Oh yeah, well, it's more the theology of it, but yeah, I mean it. If you look at the Orthodox version of it and what they're taught, I believe that like a lot of it was teaching crusades and stuff, and the whole purpose of 9/11. There was like a handful of them. Between the gold, you had
Yeah, but just to make a counter offer here to your point about it being a faction that was, how did you say that? Against what?
how did I word it? Just kind of against Americans, America.
Okay, fair
It's
enough.
not necessarily the
Fair
government;
enough.
it's Americans, because what.
Right. Fair enough, because I mean, I can agree with that. There are several different countries who practice raising their children to hate us,
Yeah,
you know, but it isn't them alone. Um, and I don't want to single people out based on religious factors. Oh, the Crusades is what you said. Um,
yeah.
that's what I want to make the point to, because the Christians also had crusades and they weren't right either. So that there's a fine line there between pointing blame on one thing and then not allowing the same blame to be put on the others for their part and stuff too. Because the whole
Oh,
Crusades thing was a massacre. That's all it was. It was genocide to wipe out any other religion other than the Christian religion. And that's wrong. Period. That's wrong. That's not Jesus's message.
oh, definitely. But that would tie back into the Vatican, the Catholics and stuff like that. They were kind of the ones who were
They were the
seen
origin.
charging that
They
one.
But they were the origins of Christianity. So fair is fair.
Nah,
Okay.
nah, not the
Yes,
Vatican.
they are.
No.
Yes, they are. The Roman Catholic Church is who created Christianity. Yes, it is. Do your homework.
Oh no,
Yes, it
I
is.
have.
We will debate that because I know for a fact that's true.
Well, if you look into, they started out as a pagan sun worshiping religion. They started
Who
worshiping
did?
the sun. They worship the sun.
The Roman
They
Catholics?
well, yeah, before Jesus came, because when Jesus
No,
came,
no, no, no.
that's
Hold on
they
now.
took
Hold
cover.
on. Hold on. The Roman Catholics are the ones that created Christianity after the death of Christ to find a way to get all of the people to follow them. I don't care what they practiced before because I don't like the Catholic Church, first and
Yeah,
foremost.
I won't
They're on the
disagree with
top of
that.
my shit list because I think they're evil motherfuckers at their core.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And
Not
I can break
Catholic
down the
people, but the
philosophies for
Catholic
that.
Church.
Yeah.
But they are the foundation of Christianity. They are.
Also, Islam too. They created Islam. They find a guy with a
Yeah.
mole on his back. Holy moly, they found one.
Yeah,
Um,
because they wanted to find ways to control all of the people.
yeah.
And they learned that controlling them was through religion. Point
Not necessarily.
blank. Because
There could be a lot of debate on that one.
Christianity is not the teachings, the foundations of Christianity are not teaching you to live by the word of Jesus. They're teaching you how to be sheeple,
Not
to not ask
necessarily.
questions. Honey, I promised you, I have done extensive years worth of research on religions around the world. And I have said from a very small child, I was here to
Oh,
finish
too.
Jesus's message. Okay.
I got my
So this is a
Harvard
passion
certificate.
of mine. I went to school and became a minister. I have my diploma on the wall straight above my head on the bookshelf right there.
Yeah.
I am a minister. I know what I'm talking about because I have always said I was here to finish Jesus's message and I needed to understand why it didn't get finished because it isn't finished. That Bible, though it has some great things in it, does not have the true message of Jesus. And where it does have the true message, they muddy the water so that you don't have your own power and sovereignty. And I will argue that till my last breath because that's what I'm here for. That's my whole purpose to be on planet Earth this time around is to finish his message. So we're not talking religions, so we'll
Yeah.
move on from that. But that one puts a bug in my butt when people become a little opinionated just because of a certain religion, because all of them have good things and all of them have bad things, and they all go back to the same damn devil, the Catholic Church. So,
Yeah, like I won't deny like the Catholic Church, the devil and stuff like that. No, like you're 100% right on that. But like I said, it goes into theology and philosophy and what inspires certain philosophy. Because most people are taught to die for what you believe in, and this was the funding and creation of the particular one to help
no, and
excel
I
people
mean, I
to
agree. Yeah, I
the
agree. There's no right in any religion teaching that you should become a martyr.
yeah. Because
But
one of the big players in this whole aspect is John Brennan, and he was an actual. Well, you got to look at a lot of the FBI too. Like Lisa Page, she's a big name. She's from
mhm,
Iran, but
yeah, there's a
John
lot of
Brennan,
them that are Muslim.
yeah, with
I
John Brennan,
understand that.
he was chief of staff to I think his name's Tennant, the actual CIA director of 9/11.
Yeah.
Um, and he was an actual Wahhabist based out of Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia is a whole different dynamic in itself, just because like the beef with Iran and all that. There was a big
Yeah.
part, and this is part of the Q movement where they talk about the purge, where they went after like one of the big funders of 9/11 was Ben Talaweed, Prince
Mhm.
Ben Talaweed. He owned
Right.
Twitter. He was a big stakeholder
Yeah.
in American companies, and
Right.
but he was more allied with Iran, and this is where like King Solomon he did the purge. He arrested Ben Talaweed back in 2017, the day Hillary was supposed to be arrested. And so,
Right.
and like that, once you seen that, you started seeing the strong anti-woman aspect of Islam kind of like back off. They were allowed to drive cars. They were
Yeah.
and
Yeah. But
bringing more
but
books into the
again,
country.
but again, Christians also didn't treat women equally until as recently as the 60s, really, to be honest. When women's lib happened. And that was a whole really bad psyop thing too that
Yeah,
actually
that
led
was the George
women.
Soros.
That was a whole break up the nuclear family thing. And that's a different story. But
Yeah,
I mean, my point here is it's not because of one religion or another. And in bringing out truths to people, I never ever want to create more division. So going with that narrative would definitely create more division, and I would just assume steer clear of that. Okay.
I hear you. I'm more truth driven.
Even though I mean, I understand that, yeah, there was a lot of Muslim connections, but there were also Christians involved in the things that happened with 9/11. And a lot of those people were Americans, regardless of what their religion was. They were American citizens and usually in a high position of authority for our country who created treasonous, seditious acts against our country and helped to make 9/11 happen.
Oh yeah,
That's
and
the
it
big
goes a lot to
takeaway from this.
the countries overseas, because what 9/11, it also led to all the wars. They wanted all the wars
War
in
makes
Middle
money.
East and break it down.
It's no different than the Catholic Church having their hand in everything all across the world. It makes money, right?
Yeah,
If we're following the money, war makes money.
and it goes
I'm
back
not
to
saying it's a good
transhumanism,
thing.
and that's the same thing. Like the Vatican would teach that you could become of God, and that would go back to the transhumanism, is just kind of becoming of a god through technology, gene splicing, stuff like that. But like, yeah,
Okay,
and
I've honestly never heard of the Catholic Church saying that you can become a god
it's an
because
uh, it's in the
I know
doctrine.
that I know that they'll canonize people after they're dead or whatever, but
Yeah,
um I mean, their main principles are that you have to go through a priest to confess your sins. You can't talk directly to God.
it
So
contradicts the Bible.
if you can't talk directly to God, how could they be teaching you that you can become a god? That
Yeah,
doesn't
well,
make
it
sense to me. That
contradicts.
sounds contradictory, but
No, it is. No, like, well, you got to look at their Bible too. The Bibles are based off the Greek translations, and that's the whole Alexandrian Egyptian cult thing. But I want to like step back to
well,
my point.
again, I mean, you're putting
Yeah,
stereotypes on things because the Egyptians also had a lot of great things to teach to people. If we just get religion out of the damn mess.
yeah. Well, I could break that down, like with
Okay,
the
but
whole
that's another
plagues.
topic.
Yeah,
Today we're talking
exactly.
about
Yeah, and there's a
9/11.
whole plagues with that. But I was want to kind of get to the point before 9/11 happened. They were the Sudan, they offered to give up bin Laden. They actually did it 3 times, and on the third one, Bill Clinton launched a strike on their only pharmaceutical building, and that created a whole human, what, just kind of like a disaster for mankind in the Africa, right there in the Sudan. So they had that Afghan government was like, hey, we have
Oh, you're
Osama
talking
bin
about
Laden
that
here.
war
You want
that
to come
Trump
get
just
him?
ended,
I'm sorry.
right? You're talking about that war that Trump just ended? That 30-year-long war or
Oh
whatever it
no.
was between Sudan and somebody? Didn't
Well,
that start at because right before 9/11 or something though? Like, wasn't it around the same time
there were a few like
that it
Kosovo. I
began?
know that was hot. Um, now, you granted that's a very very long war. You have a lot of communism versus that aspect that's been going on for since the 60s and 70s, since it was
Oh, has it been that
destabilized.
long? Okay.
I mean, it
I'm trying to Google it to find
it
out. Really.
granted it probably started around that time because that's when a lot of the destabilization process began with everybody, especially like with like KBG philosophies from the
Mhm.
Soviet Union and all that. So yeah, communism was this virus on a train, just breaking the world down after World War II, like when the CIA got created and they started moving all these players throughout the Middle East into trying to penetrate Russia. That's one big factor of the war now is like they can't penetrate Russia and take that over, which Putin has his rights and wrongs and stuff like that, but at least he's opened the door to more of the typical Christian family, peace, loves, all that
Right.
stuff now.
No,
But
yeah, and I'm not down on Christians. I'm just down on the reluctancy of Christians to really realize where their roots began. Because I was raised Southern Baptist. Like, I know Christianity like the back of my hand. I can quote Bible verses to you, you know?
oh yeah, well, my
It
roots
was
began at Adam, like you know what I'm saying, like that's where my the teachings go to. A lot of Christians don't even believe what they're supposed to because it's like honor the Sabbath, the 6 days. God created the world in 6 days, and that's where I became a
yeah.
Christian. Honor the Sabbath, 6 days. Not the actual like what they talk about. Oh, you can't light the philosophies of it. That was for the people at the time, but they should have I can't uphold that, but they did. But yeah,
Okay.
I'm trying to get back
And
on 9/11.
Yeah, just a correction. That wasn't the Sudan war I was thinking of that Trump just ended. That was a 30-year war. That was between the Congo and
Congo.
Rwanda.
Yeah, I couldn't get the word out because I'm like, it's not. Well, it's. I knew it
Yeah.
was Africa based. I mean, even the whole
Right, right.
Africa is a whole Chinese.
I mean,
Um,
pretty much. And but Sudan has been in a civil war since like 2023.
yeah, it's like I don't know. They're always in war, always.
I know, it's like there's constantly some shit going on. And that's why I don't want anything that we discuss to create more division because there's already enough of it, you
Yeah,
know.
because people do have the philosophies of it, and but then it's really hard to because, like I said, I want to get to the center of truth, rather, and that's the
Yeah,
thing. A
me
lot of
too.
truths are hard for people.
They are. Some truth is hard to swallow. Yeah,
Yeah, but it's like you.
definitely.
I don't like to swerve. Like I will take it direct on. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of person I've always been, and
Yeah.
I try to. I'm respecting your show, so I want to keep.
Yeah, no, I mean, I want to respect your viewpoints as well, you know. Um I just my main message for all of my shows is to reveal the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And
Mhm.
so we can't put opinions in it, right? And I'm sorry. I love you, but
Well, my stuff's based
you're
on
not
facts.
allowing that freedom when it comes to the Christian part. So
Well, no,
we'll
like
just be careful there,
well,
right?
it
We'll
is what
just
it
be
is.
careful.
Like like I said, I mean, tying the Christians to Catholics. That's too well. The whole world is based on two religions. Even if they're atheists, that's a religion. There's two religions, Cain and Abel. Either your works get you to heaven
Right,
or
but
Jesus
that's an
gets you to heaven.
opinion. That's an opinion. That's not a fact. So I'm gonna clip back to the video here real quick.
It was planning a major attack on U.S. soil, likely targeting major landmarks. He was very frustrated by the intelligence agencies withholding information, such as the presence of Al Qaeda operatives in the United States before September 11th. He pushed for more aggressive resources in response, but his warnings were largely ignored. Despite his expertise, his career with the FBI ended under controversial circumstances in 2001. He was accused of mishandling a classified document, though many believe it was politically motivated. He had conflicts with the FBI leadership, including the lead director. He had an abrasive personality and insisted on prioritizing bin Laden. O'Neill left the FBI in August of 2001. Shortly after leaving, he took a job as the head of security for the World Trade Center, a position which he started on August 23rd, which would be just weeks, of course, before September 11th. It's been reported that he told friends that he believed the World Trade Center would be attacked again, and on the morning of September 11th, he was in his office in the North Tower when American Airlines Flight 11 struck. He was seen alive helping evacuate people before re entering the building. His body was found in the rubble days later. In what amounts to one of the crazier stories regarding ironic fate when it comes to September 11th, the man that warned everyone about Osama bin Laden and Al Qaeda ended up being reassigned to a position within a building that would be the victim of those same people. A friend of O'Neill's reported a late August of 2001 conversation they had after O'Neill was reassigned at the World Trade Center. The friend jokingly told O'Neill, quote, "At least they're not going to bomb it again," in referencing the 1993 bombing. O'Neill replied, "They'll probably try to finish the job." After the September 11th attacks, people realized there was some serious abnormal trading activity in the days before 9/11, and the biggest example of this would be the significant increase, an increase that was completely out of the blue on put options based around airliner stocks. Now, the put options allow people to bet on the stock price falling. So people were basically betting that two specific airliner stocks based around American Airlines and United Airlines would fall, and there were abnormal, significant investments made around the idea that airliner stocks would fall in the days leading up to September 11th. The S&P 500 index options also had peculiar behavior, including potentially evidence of unusual activity in put options for the S&P 500. Once again, it's the idea of betting against the stock market with the knowledge of a potential major attack upcoming in the United States. Now, if you had that knowledge, you would, of course, be led to believe the stock market would perform very badly in the day of and days following the attack. There was also a curious move in the weeks leading up to September 11th by Zim Shipping. Now, Zim was an Israeli shipping company and had offices within the World Trade Center, specifically on the 16th and 17th floor of the North Tower. The company was partially owned by the Israeli government. They announced in April of 2001 that they would be relocating and moving their headquarters from the North Tower to Norfolk, Virginia. The move ended up happening on September 4th.
Yeah. I'm going to pause that right there
Yep.
because first of all, I knew because you're a stock trader and stuff, you would really appreciate this video. But second of all, I actually know about the underground betting that went on for 9/11. So when I found this, it was like a eureka moment for me because it's win-win for both of us.
Yeah.
Go
And
ahead with what you were going to say.
it sucks because I actually there was a major stock that popped off yesterday and it ran up 4,000%. And I made a little video. I made like trend lines kind of. I was gonna send it to you, like explaining what's what and what traders look at. And it's like it was so long I couldn't send it in one video. And I'm like,
Oh,
it's been
man.
sitting here. I'm like, man, I wish I would have got it. But yeah, the put options. You got longs and shorts. So when you buy a stock, you're going long. If you short a stock, you're borrowing shares and kind of betting against it, which options are kind of the same thing, but on a different contract kind of way. Opposed to buying the stock, you're buying a contract. So with a put option, you're buying a contract that when it goes down, you're making so much money as it goes down. And that's what they did. You had the Soros and you had a lot of these big money groups. They was putting put options on United Airlines. There
Right.
was a few other ones with companies that was involved with this. Like
Right.
after
And like this was Israeli government was doing this, people in the Israeli area, right? People in
yeah,
America were doing
the
this.
San
People
Francisco
in a
mayor,
few people in
he
a
was
few different countries. And now like we've got stuff these scuttlebutt talks about Jeffrey Epstein was actually CIA and Mossad,
or even
right?
Saudi, like he could have been
There's like a
everybody's
lot of connections. There's a
triple,
lot of
quadruple agents.
connections. And even with people that work within our government, there's a
Yeah,
lot of those double connections or dual citizenships and all that kind of stuff. And I just want to say real quick, personally, I think we need to change laws to where you are not allowed to be any citizen at all of any country other than America if you're going to
a dual
represent the body of
citizenship.
our government. There should
I
not
agree.
be dual citizenship.
I
If you're
agree.
going to work for
Supreme Court
government,
needs to rule on that.
state
I
or
agree with
federal
you,
level, state or federal, you
and that
should
needs to be
not.
solidified.
Yes, across
I
the
agree
board.
with you 100. And
We need to cut a lot of this bullshit espionage stuff out of the whole thing.
yeah, and that I don't buy into the like because people, oh well, Mossad, and then there's like Hamas. Like I could criticize both Israel and Hamas because like it's based off the
Sure, I
same
mean,
people. Our
we
CIA,
could criticize all of them,
exactly, because all
but
just ties up into what Soros or the three branches of the Illuminati or whatever. You had Soros, the Rothschilds, and the Rock. I think the Rockefellers were the other one, but they're
well, there's
gone.
actually 13 families that rule the world.
Yeah,
So, but the fact of the matter is that this was an inside job and it was internationally conspired
yeah, which
to
I was gonna
happen.
touch that too. Like they had the San Francisco mayor, he was told the night before, "Don't fly tomorrow." The Church of Saint guy, they even told him not to. They even banned him from flying that day. Like it's weird. You look at it like they banned him from flying. Then
Right,
you have other factions like that. Like it was well known that something was gonna happen.
right.
Um,
And then you've got Bush Jr. conveniently sitting in an elementary school in Florida reading a story with a bunch of children that are clearly saying words that are going to some type of satanic spell work
Yeah.
to cinch the deal and make sure it happens, even right down to the numbers that they used, because the numerology used to be a sacred esoteric wisdom that was passed down through the sages and was hijacked by evil people and used to be turning us against all of our freedoms and sovereignties and things that we were supposed to have
The
done, and then they taught
enlightenment.
us that all of that's evil.
Yeah.
Right? So now, because the Satanists use the numerology is automatically evil, just like the swastika, and that's not the case because they're actually very sacred things.
Yeah, the devil,
It's just bad people got hold of stuff and used it for evil.
exactly. The devil gets a hold of everything, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
even
ruins
Earth,
it
he got
all.
a hold of Earth.
Right. He's a fun sucker.
Yeah. And what else I was gonna say on top of that?
But
Like,
okay, the underground betting that I knew about was on
yeah,
4chan, places like 4chan, the dark web, and they were making bets on, like, who would jump, how many people would jump, how many people would try to go down the staircases. They were making bets on these people's deaths,
well,
and I saw that with my own 2 eyes. Like, I know that's real shit. I researched that.
yeah, that's what I was saying about Rachel Chandler in the last
These
episode. Like,
people
there ain't nothing you're showing me that's different because I seen the shit. Like, there ain't nothing
yeah,
I don't think you could show me right now.
and that's why I wanted to play that song, "The Storm," at the beginning of the show because you speak of 4chan, you speak of the storm, you speak of how thank God we've got Trump as a
Schools, the
leader, and
kids.
he's taking down all of the evil cabal, and we're saving the children, you know?
Yeah,
I
and
I
that
mean
was
it
what I
because
was
it
gonna
all
lead
goes
to.
back to the children, all of it.
Because a lot of people tell me, "Oh, well, you changed since Trump came on. Like, you're part of the MAGA cult and stuff." I'm like, nah. Like, I'm still the same. I've always been a conservative. Like, and conservatives believe like keep it a bare minimal government. So, and
Right.
that's been always my stance. And the thing is, like, the government, like people will, oh, government was behind 9/11. I don't think it's a criminal cabal that's overtaken. The government's just like a gun. If it's in the good people's hands, it's good. If it's in the bad, it's
That's right.
bad. It is what
That's
it
right.
is. It's just a tool. So
And
I
it's
don't
the
blame the
it's the
government for
bulk, it's
9/11,
all the fingers that are on the hand that matter too, because you can have one good person at the top, but the rest of them fingers are bad.
which was for Trump's first term. That's what it was.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
and they
Well, and
just
I
wanted
think
to
there's
observe
still
what
some
happened.
in there.
Yeah, they
They
were
still
just
need to be
watching.
weeding some out.
Yeah, and it's not an overnight job. People expect instant
Right.
gratification. Like this takes, and that's why moves are being made. You can't react. You gotta soak it in. And there's
Right.
and the whole since then, like since 9/11, the post aftermath, like between not just the wars, but like you look at the EU right now, and then you look at like the whole immigration problem that the world's having. Because it's not just an American thing. Everybody's like, "Oh, well, America's
Right.
racist. They don't like immigrant." Like, well, for one, I
No,
was
the whole world's waking up.
yeah, because well, that's the bad thing. Like with Ukraine, Ukraine was very pro, like, oh, we gotta stop immigration, which was good. But when I was that very first podcast when I touched on Ukraine, what makes them bad is like they had people that was just trying to cross through and they would block one thing like the exits, they wouldn't let them out, and they would kind of like be mean to them, which were a lot of like kind of the Africans just trying to pass through. But
Yeah.
yeah, so like EU has this problem, and like this what sucks about the whole like because the whole mainstream story or the timeline of it involves the whole radical Islam, right? And they are using this like they're putting them in countries where it's not adaptable in a sense to where they're using it like hate speech and stuff. And when really
Yeah.
it is like they're saying, oh, we're after radical Islam, but at the end of the day, you have to look what they're calling terrorists. Moms going to school board meetings, like they're terrorists. Biden was limited, calling these people
Yeah.
terrorists. And
Right.
so, yeah, that what they built a monster. They had them attack, and they create a war plan, so we could go to war with this terror because you have the Patriot Act that was passed, which was a big surveillance thing. Then you
Right.
had the
Big
congressional
surveillance psyop.
approval and a war declaration of 2003. which wasn't war on Iraq. It was the war on terrorism, which is still in
Hmm.
effect today. And this is how we're going to be able to use the whole military to take out deep state, because that war act
Hmm.
is still in effect. It never went away.
Right. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. And now it's the Department of War instead of the Department of Defense.
Yeah, so yeah, they created this monster to where you can't even use free speech. Oh, you can't say that. No, 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 no. They get offended, and this is what's big time. Like right now in the EU, if you tweet something, you're going to jail, like over a little tweet,
Well,
a meme.
and interestingly enough, even with us folks here in America, even though our censorship isn't near as bad as it had been in past years, recent past years, um, some of my podcasts that I do will still get banned in some countries.
Oh, for sure. And
They won't let them
Google
out.
is
If
like a
it's stuff
Chinese
like
company.
this, I guarantee this one won't get out to other countries, some of the other countries.
Yeah,
They won't let
and
it.
yeah, even not just our government, it'd be like their own government too. Like this
So that's
probably
what
will
I'm
not
saying. Their government tells
either
YouTube,
way.
you can't let this kind of criteria into our country, into our YouTube,
And it's not
right?
even necessarily the government. It's just Google
No, it's
alone. They have
YouTube.
that power. This is
YouTube,
corporation
it's you,
power.
honey, it's YouTube. It's countries
Exactly.
telling YouTube.
And vice versa, because Google is a very powerful entity. Like
Yes, but like
it's tandem.
for
They're in tangent with each other.
but I'm speaking to YouTube itself explicitly, right?
Yeah,
And that's how that works. The country tells that company what they will allow them to show to their people,
for sure. Oh
right?
yeah.
So there is heavy censorship, and those people don't never even know because their government made a call for them and told YouTube, if you're going to be in our country, this is how you're going to play the rules. This
Hmm.
is the rules to play by. Like they do that with
Oh
companies,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, there's some countries, if you're found with a book, they're gonna, or a certain type of book, they're gonna.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and that goes for anything, right? It's not just religion, it's not just freedom of speech. It's about control. And some of these countries have definite heavier control than others over their people, you know. Not in a good way either.
Hmm.
Like it's a shame that some of this information that we will explore tonight probably won't even reach those type of people, you know.
Unless if
They'll never
they're
get the message.
unless if they're
Because it
doing
won't be allowed
VPNs
in
or
their
something.
country. But I don't know that I mean, like,
It's rocky. Yeah.
people in China, would they have access to VPNs and stuff the way we do? I don't
It's
know.
probably not as easy, but they're smart people. Some of them figure it out. Some do. I don't know how they
Yeah.
do, but they will. And that's the thing. Where I always question, like, a lot of stuff where they bring up the AI. It's like I think humans, like, there's something built in us that we will take down whatever. Especially stuff we're building. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
But, I mean, that just goes back to we can't create division and say that, like, the Muslim people or the Islamic people or the Ukrainian people or whoever are bad people. They just have really shitty people running their governments, you
oh for
know?
sure, yeah, yeah. Because
Just
yeah,
like
there's a huge
Americans,
difference.
right? I would never want people to think that Americans are someone they should hate just because they don't like what our person up top is doing about
Oh
something,
for sure,
like
yeah.
when dumbass Biden was sleeping at the wheel.
Yeah, that's like, coming out the CCP. Like even the Chinese, they'll know who the CCP is. Like, yeah, we're against them too.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah.
Right, right. Because
Mhm.
it's not the people and it's not about the religion respectfully. It's really about
Well, there's
each
philosophies, and
each
that some could be
individual's
dangerous.
take on the religion. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
because some
Um,
theologies, like I said, it could go against our constitution, our Bill of Rights,
mhm.
and that's what's being weaponized. That's like you said, that's what's calling division, and it's
Yeah.
a slippery, and that's why it's hard to really
It
speak on
is
it
a
because
slippery slope.
so everybody wants to take things personal. Oh, I'm taking it like no, like when
And I
if
mean,
I
I'll be
talk
honest
about
with you.
something, I'm just talking about theology. Now I'll present
Yeah.
information. You can take it in, keep it, leave it. But
I mean, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't want a bunch of, Sharia law stuff going up all across our country. Like, it don't
exactly,
belong
yeah.
here. you
And
know?
that's the whole theology of it, and that's
Because that's a whole change of law. Now, I
mhm,
mean, in my opinion, you're welcome to come here and be an American citizen the right way, learn our language, and respect the fact that everybody can have their own freedom of religion and viewpoints and everything else. And you can't just call law on something. You have to abide by our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our local state government law, period.
yeah, and
Or you're
that's
not an
the
American citizen and you need to get the fuck out.
yeah, and that's the importance of immigration, legal immigration. You
Yeah.
come in,
It
acclimate,
needs
you learn
serious
it.
reform.
Yeah, because this mixture of cultures, like it's a boiling pot.
Yeah,
You just can't just throw cultures together and expect everything to just be smooth. And
yeah, I think everybody's just gonna get along.
yeah, and I mean, besides America's been the one place that kind of got away with it, and that's one thing about the whole 9/11. When you watch everybody come together, like I was watching a lot of the airlines, like not the flight attendants, but the people at the gates when they first shut down, they're holding arms, like telling people like we're shut down.
Right.
Just like the unity of everybody. And uh man, there was one crazy story I heard today. It was this firefighter. He was with a security guard, and there was this hole they dug through. They got enough of a hole where they could get he got the smaller guy out. The firefighter got the security guard out, and he's like, all right, come help me. And the guy just like waved his hand, come. He's like, no. And he's seen him walking away. So he's like, I got a piece of concrete. I whipped it at him. And he's like, I missed him. He's like, thank God, because I probably would have had to live with that. But I'm like, man, I mean, that's probably one of the worst
Wow.
stories I heard as far as like people not working. But overall, like it was this big unity. People just sacrificed themselves in this major way. And like the
Yeah,
horror
I'd never
stories,
heard
like
something like that because all the stories I heard was, I mean, you
the
know,
most, yeah, it's mostly
things
unity.
like
But I seen that. I'm like, man, that
things
was the first one I heard.
yeah,
I would
things
be
like
so
that
mad.
really, make humans shine
Hmm.
as the souls that we're supposed to be, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, because I mean, that affected not just our nation, but the world, that
Yeah.
event. It really stopped the whole world,
Yeah.
and they
And
mourned with us.
yeah, I definitely too like want to get more into the start of 9/11, like the day of and the
Mhm.
flight. United 11, that was the first flight. And it's like I've dealt with a few things with like the AG recently, like some problems I was having with like my power company, but they were very incompetent, lazy, stupid. I hate to say it, but I'm being honest. Like it was worthless. Like going to these people that deal with this and just listening to those. Like if you listen to the phone calls, the first 20 minutes, like these people were chasing that plane, not calling any and they finally got a hold of the flight attendant. Yeah, someone was stabbed. There's mace, and that alone is so scary. Like imagine being on a plane where this chaos is going on. It's maced and like being
Yeah.
on a plane is just alone, like, ugh, but all that going like that's gut wrenching. But it's like 20 minutes they were fucking chasing this plane around. Why wasn't there something in place like, hey, NORAD, like, it's been two
Right,
minutes, we can't
I
get a
mean,
hold.
I think that yeah, that's been everybody's question, like, why did we here we were thinking that out of all the places in the world, nobody's ever gonna come into our flight paths and threaten us, right?
Yeah. But even that,
And it totally happened, and they didn't call out the
yeah, because like hijacking airplanes
F-15s or
wasn't
whatever they're
nothing
called,
new.
you know? They didn't call out nothing
Yeah,
to
because that's
intercept.
always been the terrorist thing from the 70s, 80s, 90s is like
Yeah,
airplanes. That's
yeah,
always kind of been a terrorist target because it's an international thing. So,
right.
um, yeah, so you had 20
And
minutes of that.
didn't it, like, hover around in the city before it crashed into the building? Didn't it, like, circle a few times or something?
I don't know if that's the first or second one,
Okay.
because they
But
had a
still, I
little
mean, nobody
problems
shot
with
the
it.
damn thing down, right?
Yeah, and the plane got there, the F-16 got there like 4 sec, or I don't know if it was 4 seconds or 4 minutes after the plane hit. But you got to think 4 minutes, like they could have intercepted that because when they finally got a hold of the military, like is this real world or is this training? And it's like, no,
Simulation.
it's real
Yeah.
world. We need the F-16s right now. And cool. You know, you hear this
I know
girl like,
nobody could even
cool.
believe it.
Yeah, and
Nobody
then
could
all of a
even
sudden
believe it.
turn on TV, the biggest terrorist, and it's like, man,
Yeah,
these a lot of them were
and,
kind
like
of ding dongs. You know, like I hate to say it,
right.
but
There was a lot of incompetence that happened, and it's to me, it just feels very suspect, like, they really did do their research well to find all of the weak spots, all of
yeah,
the Achilles heel to be able to pull this off.
yeah.
Like, you gotta give them credit, they really did their homework.
And it makes me think of that Christmas bomber, and I think it was 2009 or something like that. He put a bomb in his underwear from a flight to Detroit, and it didn't go off properly. It went off, but it didn't go off properly. So kind of,
Sucks for him.
yeah, he kind of blew his junk off. But like, they
Good.
had CCTV before, like the video of it. And this is the one that
Mhm.
actually came out, and it's some kind of like he's got the Arabs, the Islamic like where he's walking them into
Sure.
the airport, and they'll go on TV like, no, he was alone. He acted alone. It was the same thing with the OKC, like the Oklahoma City bombing. He's like, no, it was just McVeigh. He acted alone. When a lot of reports, they was like, oh, there was a Middle Eastern man ran out that truck too, that one that blew up, and it's like, nah, he acted alone. He was alone. Shut up. Don't ask about
Right.
it. And
Right.
they're
Shut up, and look
yeah,
at it.
and there's not a lot of whole cameras back in that time.
Right.
And then the initial reports with 9/11, there's a lot of even like people who knew airplanes, professionals, and they're like, I think a 737 just hit. I think it was a 737 that hit the World Trade, and
Right.
there's like 737, and that's what they kept reporting. And he even showed up in the calls to the military, and um, and the guy was like, "What are these 737s?" And what the second one, the guy actually seen the tail of it. He's like, "No, that was a big boy chemtrails coming out of that one." So that was obviously a 757 because that would make a difference if it's a 737 or a 57 because one's a commercial, one's a more private flight, and if it's a private
Mhm.
flight, that just breaks the whole narrative apart. So
Right.
was that first one a 737 or not? That's a good question, and uh, I mean, going by the size, because they sized dimension and all that, they said really could have been a 737, the first one that hit the World Trade. And then you have like some of the theorists, they'll go on like, oh, no planes hit it, and the bombs, there was just bombs. I disagree. There's too much video. Like, I think you have to call a lot of people idiots to kind of hold that belief that no planes hit it. Um, no, I
Well, the
believe
planes clearly hit it, but the planes are not what took it down because it pancaked, like demolition style pancaked. That whole fucking structure was laced with bombs,
yeah.
and they did it through the duct system when they worked on the furnaces.
Yeah. Did you ever see that video when I brought it, the Silverstein, when he's like, yeah, we had to pull it? Like, I agree with you. Like, yeah, he's full of shit. It's not for safety. That's not why they pulled it. But yeah, him and Kerry, they was both on TV. Yeah, we pulled it. So it's not like
Yeah.
a debate that these things like were pre-wired to detonate. If he pulled
Mhm.
it, he
Right.
can't unsay that. You know, he was on TV. He said it. I would say he's
So
full of shit on the reasoning, but
mhm, right. So just to, let you know and be clear for our audience, the 2 airplanes that hit the World Trade Center buildings were both Boeing 767s.
767.
Big fucking plane.
Yeah.
And the one in where was the other one at? Pennsylvania?
Yeah, the Pennsylvania and then the Pentagon.
That that was a 757, and I guess the other one was a 767 too.
It would
The
have to because they're
Pentagon.
commercial. They're all that's the
Yeah.
official story, or they're commercial. They put the calls out. They got all
So
that
how
stuff
were their
out.
passengers? If they were
Is
commercial, why were their passengers on board calling their loved ones?
exactly, and I mean, there's a lot of theories. Oh, they didn't really do it. They couldn't have done it, and I don't know if I don't buy like I don't go that in the gray areas. You like I always say, I always want to stay to the truth. I want to get to the bottom of stuff. I don't want to hang on research. Oh, we may cure cancer. Like keep giving us money type deal.
Okay.
Like
I
to me,
I
that's
don't even
propaganda.
what are you saying is propaganda? The people
Um,
calling their
well, some
family?
people, well, no, like people like getting in too deep. Like, no, those are AI robots. They didn't call they couldn't have done it in the air like that. Cell phones that weren't that
Oh,
permanent. You know,
well, I
there's all
mean,
these
there's
excuses.
actual family members
Exactly.
who say they were called by their loved ones, so
Yeah, and that's why
I
I tell these
totally feel
people
like
like
that
we have to call
happened.
them liars.
And yeah, and just a interesting side note to the 9/11 story for anyone who's interested. I will be doing a show pretty soon on children who claim to be reincarnated souls from 9/11.
That's interesting. I'm gonna have to check that one out.
I mean, it's pretty neat stuff. There's like a lot of kids all of a sudden that, like little kids that don't know anything about 9/11 at all,
But they know everything about it though.
but
Yeah,
they know everything about it. Yeah. So really fascinating. And there's kids that remember being on the Titanic when it went down too. So the truths are coming out now. That's my
yeah.
point to this. I think those souls had to wait to reincarnate now when the veils are getting lifted so that we have the eyes to see these truths.
It's interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. Because we needed to know. Like, for anybody that don't believe us, that don't believe all the facts that we can gather, perhaps the only thing they will believe is the child that's 7 years old that is terrified of large buildings and airplanes and fires because they were in 9/11, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's all part of God's purpose for us to wake up to all these truths so that we can change this world once and for all.
Hmm.
But we gotta reckon with the bullshit first, right? That's why it's
Exactly.
called the storm.
Exactly. Where we go, when we go.
Yeah, and I mean, you do have to kinda wrestle with some of these truths. 9/11 was a hard one for me. When I realized I mean, I knew something stunk from the get-go,
Mm.
but I
That's what got me
never
into
in a
politics.
million years me too. I'd have never in a million years believed anybody telling me that that was an inside job when it happened. I would have never in a million years. I believed it hook, line, and sinker that bin Laden and his people were the culprits of it until we all of a sudden did a fucking 180 and went after Saddam Hussein in Iraq instead of bin Laden. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Especially when like all these countries kept offering to give them up. It's bizarre.
Right. Right.
It's really
And we flew his family out in the middle of the night during a no-fly thing, whatever
mhm.
you call that.
And we
That
don't
was
even like
crazy.
what else was on that airplane too. That was another hint. Like it wasn't just people on the airplane that flew out. Like I wonder what else they sent with them. Because they were meeting with Al Qaeda leaders, giving them gold, paying them in gold with certain events, and
Interesting
they're
you wouldn't bring up the gold.
yeah, I thought that too when I first was like listening to that part because like everything keeps like surrounding with gold on that. Um,
Mhm. Follow the money, right?
and it's a
Follow
easy
the
way to
money.
move and transfer stuff. That's large
Uh,
amounts of money quick.
and if a lot of the Fort Knox gold really had been moved to the basement of Building 7 that never had a damn plane hit it, and you control the cleanup crew and who gets into what, you
Yeah,
get to be the director of who goes where to clean up what, then it's easily maybe one of the biggest heists in history, right?
yeah. Well, that's the thing too. It's not just like our gold. There's a lot of countries that store their gold with us. So like, how
Yes,
much of that
that's
was in there?
right.
You know?
Exactly. And it used to be the opposite. It used to be that America was actually having this place in London hold our gold,
Yeah,
but we started like buying it back or however that works to
yeah. I
where
remember. Yeah, those
we could
stories.
start funneling it back to America. But all of it was allegedly in Fort Knox, and I believe that they were trying to move a bunch of it from Fort Knox to Building 7. And see, the 7 is an important thing for me because I know that I'm here for the Great Awakening. I know that I'm here to finish Jesus's message and that we are who we've been waiting for. But sevens, God showed me that a lot of things will happen because of the number 7 or in the name of a 7,
Hmm.
right? And building 7 was a big key for me. So I started digging into what really went on in building 7. And that's when I found the research that suggests very strongly that that's where a lot of our gold was actually being stored.
Hmm. And they,
And nobody's ever mentioned that. And it wasn't it like the day before 9/11 that Rumsfeld announced that we had like $3 trillion that went missing from the Pentagon?
yeah.
Yeah.
And for the longest, I always held a stance that I thought it was a missile that hit the Pentagon, just because like you have all
Because of
this
the way it looked.
CCTV, but none of
Yeah.
it has been aired. I mean, and the
Yeah.
one they did of the Pentagon is this little frame. Like they have better stuff than that,
Right.
but
And it
there's also the
conveniently hit the
witnesses.
building that was supposed to be audited for the missing $3 trillion.
Hmm. Yeah,
How
exactly.
convenient.
But that, and the thing is though, like they have a lot of people that was stuck in traffic, and they said there was an airplane that crashed into the Pentagon. So, it's like I don't know what to believe on the because that would be, they say that's almost an impossible hit because you have to, right on the
I mean,
ground.
the way it angled in, like, how could that have happened
Yeah,
in
like,
reality? How could that have happened?
and so like then you get ideas, maybe drones, maybe then you started questioning the official
Yep.
story, but and that's why like I want to get to the bottom as much as possible. So when someone feeds me like the whole, oh, there was no cause, that was all it's like, man, you're going off into a gray area. You can't prove, can't disprove, and I want to get to the
Yeah.
bottom of
Well,
it. And I remember that
but
day like
you
yesterday.
can disprove them saying that, though, because there are witnesses to this. There are
Oh yeah, yeah,
multitudes of family members, right, that say they got the phone call.
yeah.
I
But
mean,
and
I
then they
know
bring
all
up,
about the
well,
paid actors thing, but this was too many people to be paid
exactly.
actors, you
Yeah,
know?
way too many. And granted, I guess it's possible, but like I said, it's a great place that I don't even want to even think about because there was a lot of death that day. And just, I mean, I was an ice step that day myself. I think I was 16, and we're doing the ice step test, and one teacher comes in, goes to like George Bush, go ahead and goes in the air. All you hear is just like horrific, oh my God. Like, we thought something was wrong with her, and she kind of gets up, she walks out the classroom, and we're doing the test. Like, everybody's looking at each other, kind of just started doing the test, and we didn't hear anything. And then after like the first break, we go out, and they're like, we might be sending the word's going around, everybody might be sent home. And like, why? Like, we're under attack. And so we're confused, but throughout the day, we start, like, they didn't send us home, but we start learning like, oh, they're going to target Chicago. There was start hearing these rumors. So I finally got home, and there I am, just like, I remember it too, like yesterday. It was the video where the camera is like running away from the billowing, the collapsed tower, and they're running from the smoke. Like, I just remember coming and looking at it, just like my jaw's dropping, like, holy, because you're thinking going to war, like you don't know what's going on in school, and it
Yeah,
was
it
just,
was scary
it
as
was
hell.
chaotic. Yeah, like it
It was
was
so
complete
scary for
panic in my
all of
school.
us. Yeah. Yeah, it was a really I think everyone in America knows exactly where they were when 9/11 happened. I
Yeah,
guarantee you, if they were alive, they remember it to the T,
yeah,
exactly
because the
where they were
main
at.
the main thing is like we're under attack. That was even the
Yes,
talk too when
because
that second plane hit. We're under attack, and it
yeah,
got into schools, man. Yeah, kids like me, like what's going, and I didn't understand it, so that's
all
why
of
I'm
my
like,
kids were in school and they got put on lockdown, right? Everybody was on lockdown,
yeah,
and I'm watching it play out on TV, and my husband at the time was asleep, and I went and woke him up to tell him 9/11 or the Twin Towers just got attacked, and he's like, "That's bullshit. Nothing like that would ever happen here. That's some fake stuff. Don't even believe it." And I'm like, "No, I'm telling you, we're under attack."
look at the
I mean,
TV, yeah, mainstream
he
TV. This is mainstream news.
absolutely but that's where we were, right? As a country, we
Yeah,
really felt like nothing like this could ever happen. And I think that's why it made such an impact on us,
yeah,
because it brought us to our knees that we
yeah.
we can experience this, and this is not good. This was not good at all. And
And it's
it had to have been set up from the get-go in order for them to get allowed inside of our airspace the way that that happened. Because from what I understand, the pilots had already made some kind of a signal or something to let air traffic control know that their plane had been hijacked,
yeah.
you
There was
know?
weird things going on. Like they were playing with the transponders and they started picking up weird
Yeah,
things. And that's when, yeah, they was like, okay, so and that's when the very first that Betty Young chick, the flight attendant calls in. Yeah, one of the flight attendants was stabbed, and she kind of stays quiet and like
right,
the mace went off, and I think they're in the cockpit.
right.
We can't get a hold of them. And
Yeah,
like I said, the whole 20 minutes, man, like
yeah. I mean, it was clearly an inside job, or it would have never happened in our airspace ever. It would have never happened because we got the biggest, baddest military on the face of this planet.
yeah,
But the people that tell them what to do are, in my opinion, responsible.
mm-hmm.
Every one of them should be questioned. And if found guilty, the proper court martial, whatever, tribunal, whatever needs to be done, however they have
Exactly.
to go about doing it needs to happen.
Nuremberg #2.
Right. Like I want to see this shit popping off. I'm
Yeah,
I'm I'm done. I'm done with it. What is the anniversary this year for 9/11? It's how many years now?
24, 25.
20 24 years, because yeah, didn't it happen in 2000? Did it
One,
happen in
yeah,
2000 or
24.
2001?
2001, yeah.
So yeah, 24 years. This
Yeah.
is the anniversary, 24 years. By the time we get to the 25th anniversary, these motherfuckers better be in jail somewhere or headed to Gitmo.
Yeah,
Like all of them.
and that's yeah, because I mentioned John Brennan, and he's been very vocal against the release of 28 pages,
Yeah,
and
because
even they
he's
got
complicit.
like two.
Rumsfeld is complicit, in my opinion, in research. And so allegedly is Bush Sr., Bush
Yeah,
Jr., John
if I'm not
Kerry.
mistaken,
There's a
didn't
lot of
Rumsfeld
people.
die?
There's a lot of people that knew about this, in my opinion, from the research that I have found.
Isn't Rumsfeld dead already though? Didn't he die?
And Rumsfeld's not dead.
You sure? I don't know.
I'm not.
Like
I'm
it
not
might be. I might be
positive.
having a
I'm gonna Google
Mandela
it.
effect right now.
I'm gonna Google it.
I've been having a few Mandela effects because I always thought like John Brennan was the CIA head at the time, and I went to look it up. I'm like, oh fuck, man! Like I went through a lot of years thinking he was the CIA head, but no, he was just the chief of staff. So, um,
He is dead.
okay, because I
He
remember
died
hearing,
in 2021, and I did not know that.
yeah,
Yeah, he passed away in 2021. That's interesting.
yeah, I had that fake memory. I'm like,
What are
wait,
they
isn't he
saying his
dead?
cause of death is?
Yeah, I'm curious about that because I didn't dig into. I remember like there's a faint memory of it. That's when I'm like, didn't he die?
Yeah, the whole thing with the aspartame being put in our food and our gum and our candy and stuff, all the different bad side effects that happen from it, they call it Rumsfeld disease because he's the one that fired the head of the FDA for refusing to put aspartame in the food,
Yeah,
and he put somebody in place that would. Because it started out as a coating for, like, blood pressure medicine, aspartame.
Mhm.
And then some fucking scientist tasted it and was like, "Oh, that tastes sweet like sugar." And they ran with that shit.
Yep,
Okay, death. Died from multiple myeloma in
cancer
his
or something like.
home. Yeah, in his home in Taos, New Mexico.
Oh, New Mexico.
Had a private funeral at Fort Myer and was buried in Arlington National Cemetery. He's a fucking traitor. He don't belong there.
Get him out of there. Dig him up.
Yeah. He's a traitor to our country.
Well, he's getting his justice. We can say
Yeah.
that.
No.
I'm,
No.
I would fear that
My
justice
opinion
above
is
man.
my opinion is that death is too good for him. But I also don't believe in a heaven and hell the way that you do. So we'll leave that there because I personally feel like we're here for a lesson every time we live a life. And we might get some bad karma in the next life for what we did here, but there's no burning hell of eternal damnation, in my opinion.
As far as like the book I read, it's the fiery lake. That's the worry opposed to a hell. The hell is just like a being apart from God. That's the way it's kind of described in a sense. How it feels because once you separate from God, but yeah, it's the fiery lake. After Judgment Day for everyone.
Right. So back to Brennan. What else do you know about John Brennan?
He played a bit. He was in secret meetings with Obama, Biden,
Mm-hmm.
and because the whole
Mm-hmm.
9/11 that opens, like I said, going to that portion of the world. That's where the Obama comes into play, and
Yeah,
it
because
was
Brennan is actually the one that made his birth certificate
yeah, and he was
and
Obama's
his social
CIA
security
director.
card and his fake credentials, all of them, like all of his fake credentials. Allegedly, that was Brennan's job to do.
And on top of that, I always heard too, like John Brennan was the guy behind the 9/11 hijackers' passports.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Right.
uh,
He's
I
the
mean, if you
passport
read it
guy.
up, there was a lot of fraud with it. But granted, they had I mean, if there was a lot of fraud, people ain't stupid. They would have picked it up. But he probably signed something overriding them. That's to, okay.
I
Just
don't know.
say,
I mean,
I believe, but I'm
I
sure he
think
had his
even
hand in it.
like even with people in the FBI or the CIA, they're not all bad people. It's the directors and the people that are above them. And if you see your people above you doing something wrong like that, where do you go? Who do you tell? There isn't
Yeah,
anybody. There's no other chain of command
that's the complications of things, and I think that has a
to
lot to
go
do with
report
like.
it to. So I mean, they may have known that he was doing that kind of fraudulent stuff and just couldn't do anything about it because they're lower than him. Because he was the passport fraudulent ID guy, go-to guy. That was his thing,
Exactly.
within the CIA and all of that. And, yeah, I mean, like, my group of anons that we did a lot of research on, Obama's birth certificate and stuff like that and who made that shit happen. And interestingly enough, I just wanna back up just a little bit to how, like, Trump always questioned Obama's birth certificate, right? From the
Hmm.
get-go, he has questioned it publicly, openly, even before he was a president.
Yeah.
Um, Little known fact about Trump is that when 9/11 happened, he partnered up with Rudy Giuliani and gave Giuliani all kinds of his own money to help rebuild New York City,
Yeah.
including Central Park.
Yep.
Um, the other guy wasn't getting it done and was dragging ass on it that the county or the city or whatever had commissioned to redo the park, and Trump
Yeah.
used his own money and his own workers and went and got the park
He flipped it.
fixed. Yeah,
Below
and a lot of
budget
people
half the
don't know
time.
that about him. Right.
Yeah.
So he deserves kudos and credit for that, and he's known for a long time that these people are wicked and evil.
He was out there on
Our
9/11 the
people.
day of. He brought his people to the cleanup crew. He was out there. He said he was like,
Yeah,
I
boots
people are
on the
saying there are
ground.
bombs in the building. They look like bombs. That buildings just don't fall like that.
Yeah, right. I mean, he was acting as a president before he was ever even running for president.
Oh
And that
yeah.
actually reminds me of another thing. Ronald Reagan, when he was president, there's a video clip of him shaking Donald Trump's hand. And as he shook his hand, he looked over at the news media people and he said, I feel like I'm shaking the hand of the president instead of the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
remember
I
that. I
thought
forgot
that was
about that. I'm glad you
pretty
brought that up.
crazy.
Yeah. And
But
that's
he's always been very presidential. He's a
but
great
what
leader.
Trump's the Antichrist. I'm like, well, he didn't rise out of nowhere. Closest
Yeah,
person who would fit that would be Obama, but that's
right.
speculatory, right? But
Or a pope.
yeah, exactly, yeah, yeah, because there's a reason why it looks like snake eyes in the Vatican,
Yeah, that Vatican's so wicked, some bitch.
and that's why they're so entitled to do it.
Mhm. Yep.
My Facebook, I'm always blasting, especially when they elected a new one. I was just making jokes like, man, he's getting wrecked today. Pope Leo.
Yeah.
But it turns out, like, I guess he's a bit conservative. Let's hope he's a decent. I mean,
I don't know. They
but who
say
is
he's gonna be
he?
the
They're
UFO
nobody.
disclosure, but I don't trust that shit either.
Yeah,
I don't trust a pope or the Catholic Church being the
yeah. All them archbishops
the
and them.
director of any type of disclosure. I feel like they're gonna only spoon drip, you know,
Hmm.
to only let so much out. I don't feel like they would ever tell all of their secrets.
Yeah. And have you ever heard the one? And this, I mean, I actually kind of believe this one. Um, like Jesus' birthday was actually on 9/11. That would be like D-Day or whatever. It's just due to the
Um,
calendars and switches, but
yeah, I actually, from the research that I've done, determined that Jesus's birthday was actually somewhere between the end of August and the beginning of September, because the shepherds wouldn't have been out in
exactly,
the
yeah.
fields tending to their flocks in the winter. They don't do
Hmm.
that in the winter. So,
Oh yeah, I'm always loud on Christmas Day. Like God bless this day because we know what it actually means, but um, it's very evil. Um, but yeah, cool.
well,
I'm glad
I don't know what you
we
mean
found
by
common
very
ground.
evil and all, but I guess you're referring, here we are in religious beliefs again. I guess you're referring to the pagans celebrating around solstice
Easter,
time.
Easter,
For
and that's
Christmas, you said that Christmas is evil. Well, the original holiday was on the 21st, which is winter solstice, and it wasn't evil. That's just something that a lot of Christian people are taught to believe. So,
oh no, I'm talking about the you got Easter. But there's a
yeah,
reason for Christmas. All right, you gotta check this out. With Easter, there's the bunny,
Easter.
um, the
Yeah.
fertility god, right? And so
Yes.
9 months or roughly 9 months later, you would have winter solstice, and that's when they would do the child
Well,
sacrifices.
that's when some people did child sacrifices. Not you can't lump them all together.
Well, I didn't say
Okay.
anyway. I'm just saying like
You
the ones
can't
who
lump
worship this.
all pagan or nature believers into the same category.
Well, the demonic side. I mean, you know
Okay,
what I'm
but
saying?
demonic is demonic, and they hijacked esoteric Gnostic teachings that Jesus used and practiced and turned it into something evil. And that included honoring the seasons of
Hmm.
solstices and equinoxes.
Yeah,
So you've got winter solstice, you've got summer solstice, you've got spring equinox, you've got fall equinox. And in order for them to convert people over to Catholicism or Christianity, they had to use their dates that they were already following and say, well, you can still worship on those dates, but we're going to go teach you this stuff instead. You got to leave your stuff behind. And that's when the book burnings happened. That's when anybody that wanted to believe a different belief was murdered,
yeah.
and they were not bad people just because their belief system was trying to be wiped out. I can speak to this from my Native American family, my bloodline that believed that way and lived that way as nature worshipers. They honored God as being in every living thing, including the trees. I can speak to this from my Irish lineage. I can speak to this because of the way I raise my own children. And we do not celebrate Christmas. We honor winter solstice. And we do not believe in child sacrifice. We do not take chicken blood for anything. I
Hmm.
have pentagrams with circles drawn around them for protection in my home. It does not make me evil. So
Oh no, not at all.
to lump them all into one sector is wrong. And it creates division, and it makes people look at my family as someone to fear or hate, and then it puts me and my children in danger. So
Well,
I
I
take
don't.
it very personally for it to be lumped into something demonic just because evil motherfuckers exist,
Oh yeah, for sure. There's definitely
you
factions
know?
for sure.
Because I am all for saving children. I am all for I don't even like the whole crucifix image of Jesus because I feel like it's honoring the blood. I don't like communion because they're having you drink of the blood of Jesus and the bread of his skin as a sacrifice. I
I
don't
agree.
like any of that. Like, I think every bit of that is little connotations of demonic practices to dupe the masses
I agree 100%.
and have them worshiping the devil without even realizing they're worshiping the devil,
I agree
which I do
100% on
not do.
that. Yeah,
I do not do. I have crosses in my house and I also have pentagrams, but I am not evil. I have a pentagram tattooed on my thumb with a circle around it to keep evil away from me.
oh for sure. And
I
that
have
that goes into the
Solomon's seals tattooed on my body to keep
yeah.
evil away from me.
Yeah. And then that goes to the like the really uh, the Hegelian dialectic, where you have the left hand of Luciferian versus the right hand of God, where like on the left hand you would have like Hollywood, black magic, the Merlin with the tree, the wand, and then on the right side you have like sainthood, white magic, um, got the good stuff. And that's where basically the left and right comes from. Everyone thinks it's Democrats versus Republicans when really it's good versus evil.
It is good versus evil, but I
Yeah.
think you have the imagery a little bit muddied.
Not really. It's pretty much straightforward
Well, I
because like
mean,
if
I
if you
don't
believe
think
in
that
Jesus,
I don't think Merlin the wizard was an evil person either.
well he used the holly tree for the holly tree. So his like wand would be
Yeah.
the Hollywood. The wands they would use.
And according to Christian practices, we still hang mistletoe. I mean, all of these things, the Yule tree, the holly tree, the mistletoe, the Christmas tree, the balls, everything about Christmas came from pagan tradition.
Yeah, it did. I agree.
It all was taken and hijacked and turned into something else. It doesn't make it evil. So
Oh, for sure.
again, I would just ask you to open your mind a little bit
It's already
to
open. That's why I said you have the
the
right magic.
symbolism, you know, because and magic isn't evil. Like, we're getting on a whole different subject here, but
Yeah.
Jesus practiced magic. Come on.
Well,
Jesus
yeah,
could
that's what I'm saying.
resurrect the
There's the
dead,
black
and so
magic and then the
can
white
I.
magic.
And I know I can because I've done it. It's documented. My 10-year-old child was dead. The doctor said, "Tell her goodbye." And I said, "No way, no how. I am the same as Jesus." He said, "I can go forth and do the same great works as him and more." And I believed that. And that is what God told me in that moment, was to just believe it, zeroed out.
Yeah.
And I resurrected my child. And not only did she come back to life, but even though everything on the whole right side of her body was shattered and broken and every organ in her body was bleeding or shut down, she lived and
Yeah.
she healed and she was home in 3 weeks. Home.
Yeah.
And they didn't think she was gonna survive or that at best she'd be a vegetable. She graduated from high school top honors in her classes. I did it because I believe. I have a tattoo on my arm that says, "Just believe." Zero doubt. We really can do what Jesus did. And to some people, that looks like magic. Moses
Oh, for
had a
sure.
staff he turned into a snake.
Yeah.
Why is he not evil? But
But that's a miracle.
this wizard we call we call Merlin is
Yeah.
evil. I
Well,
mean,
the
just
Bible teaches
be
miracles.
careful with your opinion.
Yeah.
It's not
Well,
a
the
fact.
Bible teaches miracles. If you put your hand in, pull it out, it's got leprosy. He didn't do that his whole life. He only gave it to give the power to free his people. So it wasn't like a permanent type deal. But yeah, miracles
Who?
happen. That's why that's on the right side,
Who didn't
right
have
hand
a
of God.
permanent who didn't have a
Moses.
permanent something?
Moses, when God sent Moses into
Well,
the land, he's like, put
Jesus
your hand
told
in your
but
robe, pull it
Jesus
out, be
told
leprosy.
me, yeah, but Jesus told me you're only as limited as you allow yourself to be. So Moses may have only believed that he could do that one thing, and then
Yeah,
he limited himself.
but for sure. But the thing is, like, we're definitely human and not God. That's the purpose of like Jesus, because that's
Jesus
only
was
one
human.
perfect
He
man.
was of flesh. He's not the only one perfect man, and he never told you that. Jesus said to all 12 of his disciples to go out in different directions after he taught them how to heal.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "But Lord, if you're not with us, how do we do these things?" And he said, "You too can go forth and do the same great work as me and more.
I
You
agree.
just have to believe." And he didn't mean it just for 12 disciples. He meant it for all of the people. And that's why his message was so dangerous and they killed him,
Oh yeah.
because nobody wanted the people to be free and sovereign. They wanted them to be submissive. They wanted them to believe in some indoctrination and to be powerless to their own life.
Yeah, because a lot of times they would have used the Latin Bible. It was only in Latin. Like people in Europe didn't understand Latin, so that's where they was able to deceive a lot of people. With
They
that
deceived
Catholic
people
Church.
worldwide from different various ways because the devil is very creative.
Yeah, and he's been taking God's stuff since the beginning of time. Because he said, "You too can become like God if you eat this forbidden fruit." That's what he told Eve.
Well, again, I'm going to disagree. That's indoctrination.
Well, it says in the Bible. I'm going with the Bible says.
Yeah, it says that in our Bible, but if you go back to the original translations, that's not exactly what was being said. So do your research and look further if you're called to do so. Now, moving back to 9/11. What are your
Not
opinions
Moses.
on Obama's hand in it?
Not 9/11, but he's the Manchurian candidate for because when you start using this boogeyman approach that they're using, the boogeyman, Osama, it gets a little old, right? And so you had this new hope that they brought in, using cultural Marxism and stuff like that to really color revolution. This is how the communist teachings going back to the Weather Underground, how to overthrow governments, and with him he was a big funder. He was funded like this is documented with Bill Ayers and Prince Ben Talaweed, which he was a big funder of the hijackers. He was the one paying for for them to do what they were doing.
Okay.
Uh, and so when you follow in Obama's foreign visa and all that,
Mhm.
he had a foreign visa. So like that right there kind of shows like he was a foreign asset. So he's like
Well,
a
yeah,
Manchurian candidate baked up.
right. Right, exactly. He's a Manchurian candidate, right?
Yeah.
And there were even, like, pictures that surfaced of him when he was younger, dressed in, like, the whatever it's called, is it Muslim garb? I don't know what religion it really belongs to, but it's like
The Islam
the
part of
long
Kenya. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, like, I don't know really what you call it, sari or something. Is it called
Kind
a
of like a
sari?
tribal gear. That wouldn't
Yeah,
be my phase of
and he's
just
holding,
tribal
like, a
stuff.
AK-47 or some shit, like, "What?" And
Yeah.
that was Obama. And I was like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
This goes deep. I mean, he was young.
For sure.
Yeah.
His backstory it's really hard to really kind of get in, and there's a lot of stuff of it that really
Mm,
don't make sense. And
'cause
then
it's
when
all made up.
yeah, exactly. And then when you look at the story of him and Michelle, they met in the Russian
Michael,
speaking class. My Big Mike, yes,
Michael, Big Mike.
Big Mike
Yeah.
got a neck like a
Big
pit bull. Um,
right, big swinging dick Mike on Ellen's show. Oh my
yeah,
god, I'll never forget that. Go ahead.
yeah, that made me thinking of Ella. That took me back to
Flashback.
You ever see was it the Grammys or Oscars? I think it was the Oscars of 2013. She comes out, she's like, "Hey guys, let's get a pizza." And she's walking in the crowd. She's like, "Hey Jeff, there's Jeffrey Epstein. There's a Harvey Weinstein." She goes up to Harvey Weinstein. How about you give us some money for pizza? And so like it's obviously one of
Oh.
the child stuff, the Pizzagate stuff,
Yeah,
right in front of
yeah.
everybody, 2013.
Oh my
So it's
god.
yeah.
Rubbing it in our face because we didn't even have a clue yet.
Yeah, go look that up. You watch that
Shit.
video, you're just like, holy cow, how
Oh, I wanna
obvious it is.
punch her right in her man face.
A little Slim Shady.
Yeah.
Uh, um, so yeah, like with the whole, you had to understand Marxism and how they use cultural warfare, especially like the working man versus the poor man. That was the first initial tactics, but with culture,
Yeah.
it goes into racism or gender
Yeah.
or identity. It's identity politics is how like
Yeah.
communism operates, which Marxism is implementing socialism through the means of communism. So it's a stepping
Yeah.
phase. That's why
Yeah.
like you hear
And that
socialism.
includes religions too, like keeping the religions divided amongst each other and
Oh, for
fighting.
sure.
You know, it's color, it's race, it's religion, it's everything. They just want to attack us every which damn way they can, and then
Yeah, to
lie
keep
to us in
people
school and stuff.
distracted.
Right.
Yeah, and so why everybody's like, because that's like the perfect setup to where you're running, um, like I said, running money to Iran. We was running the NSA, like he was doing all these he started setting up these spy programs, but the second, like, oh no, like, oh, you're racist, you're saying, you're opposing the black man and stuff like that, which really he was just the blackface of Democrat Party. And
Hmm.
it's like it's not racism.
Yeah.
You could have a great black president. Put Clarence Thomas in there. I don't care.
Exactly. Exactly. It had nothing to do with the fact that he was black that I say that he was a terrible president
And he's not even
at
black
all.
though. He's
At
not
all,
even black.
right? Well, but you know what I'm saying. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't even care.
He
I wouldn't even
appears.
care if we had a gay president as long as they were damn honest about it, you know. But
Doing the right thing. Yeah, just do the
yeah,
fucking right thing for the
do the right
people.
thing. But also, while you're on Marxism, I just want to also throw Hillary Rodham Clinton into the batch there because she's been all about Marxism since she was in school.
Oh yeah, she's
And people don't know that about her unless they do their own research on her, which I have done.
oh yeah, she was it's funny how big of a Republican she was back in the day, but she did. Second they got their chance of power, boom, flip. She's real good at what she does.
I don't
I'm
remember her
surprised they
ever
didn't
being
run
a
her
Republican.
again. We see through it, but it's a typical person who doesn't understand. She's good. You know what I mean? Like she's very deceptive at what she does.
She was very deceptive for a long time. I don't think she's very successful at that now. But
Yeah,
I
so
don't
it
remember her ever
really
being a
blew up in the 70s.
Republican. As far as I can remember back, she's always been a Democrat.
It was like in
'Cause
the 70s.
I
She
was a
was
little kid. I was a little kid, and my mom and dad would drag me around to everywhere Bill and Hillary Clinton were going to be at so that they could rub elbows with him when he
yeah.
was first becoming the governor of Arkansas, because that's where I grew up.
Yeah, it's she was working under Gold. It was some like big Republican named Gold. Like she was like an assistant to him starting out. He was
No, that was a law firm.
or something like no, it was an actual guy. I cannot think it's had Gold in his name, but once you hear it, you're like, oh, okay, I remember. Like you know what I'm talking
Mm.
about.
Was
But
it
she was
Gold
pretty a fake Republican
Burgers?
and all that. It's something like that. I would have to like
I'm
flip up
Googling it.
Google,
I'm
but
pulling my Google up.
yeah, that should pop up easy. Like if it really should because it's part of her career, and
Yeah.
he was a controversial figure himself. But yeah, but if you look at like Chicago, back when communist was first implemented, I think it was the 30s, and like it hit Chicago the first, like their universities, the media outlets. Because a lot of people talk about the New York culture or the LA culture, but they fail to realize like Chicago has its own communist culture, like embedded back when, especially going back to Al Capone and
Okay. Goldwater.
Goldwater.
Barry
Boom,
Goldwater.
Barry
And
Goldwater.
you're
That's what it
right.
is.
And you're right. She worked for him when he was running the 64 presidential campaign as the Republican ticket.
Yeah,
She worked for him. You're
that's
right.
what I'm saying.
I
Like
did not know that about
I know
her.
my shit.
That's very good. I like it when I learn something new.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
but she was
didn't
very
go far
deceptive.
enough back. Oh, she's super deceptive, evil bitch. If anybody's the devil walking this earth, it's her.
Yeah,
I mean, I
she's a
I,
witch.
I know some things, and she's pretty evil. She's
Yeah,
pretty fucking sinister. She does things that I think grown men wouldn't dare do. That bitch needs to. I hope I see her pay. That's all I'm gonna say.
and ain't her Bill Clinton cousins? Like I thought,
Yes,
yeah, they're cousins. Yeah.
yes.
And it's funny because around
But they keep it
2000, a
in the
year before
13
9/11.
families. I mean, even Obama's related to all of them. Come on.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, it all is a bloodline, this evil bloodline
It's
they
a
got going
bloodline
on.
thing.
Because
Mhm.
it's even tied to Bush, but
Almost every single president we've ever had is related. They're in the
yeah,
same family tree somewhere.
and that's where the talk begins, where Trump got activated. It was like in 2000, he was running. JFK Jr. was running against Hillary Clinton, and
Mhm.
they had him taken out in the air. Here we go back to the airplane. Um,
Allegedly.
yeah, so I mean, Q alluded he was dead. A lot of that's just trying to put this smear over the Q movement. Like, nah, he's JFK Jr.'s dead. Q
Oh,
even reiterated it.
I don't know if Junior's alive or dead. I'm
Yeah.
saying allegedly she's the one that made that happen.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. It's not confirmed, but it's obvious with her having the body count. But yeah,
I
well, a
mean,
lot of
yeah, it
people
certainly looks like she did it. I just have to, for legal reasons, say allegedly
yeah, there you go. You're
because
right,
I don't have the
100%.
evidence to prove it. So
Yeah.
you have to be
Um.
careful slinging around accusations.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, these people are sue happy motherfuckers.
And not that too. Like I said, the other side, like they will use JFK Jr. to smear Q, like, oh, they say he's still alive. Like, no, Q never said he was still alive. Like, how do
He never
you?
said that he isn't either, though,
Yeah, he did.
and I personally don't. Okay, I
He did.
personally don't feel like the Junior stuff smeared anything about Q at all. I don't feel like it smeared it. I feel like it was something to maybe divert people a little bit off the whole point of what they should have been learning.
The big message. Yeah, exactly.
But but honestly, a lot of the Q followers still haven't figured out the true big message.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, exactly. And that all goes back that Trump's the one. He's the kill switch guy. He's the one who makes the call.
Yeah, because he's been involved in this plan for a long time.
Yeah, and
He's in the know.
that's what I'm saying. That goes right a year before 9/11. So, um,
Yeah. Well, 2 years before 9/11. It was 99
99. Yeah, it wasn't.
when Junior's plane went down. Um,
It was toward the end of the
but
year. That's why I keep thinking 2000. There's some. Oh, it was the 2000 elections. That's why I keep saying 2000. Okay,
right, it was
2 years.
the 2000 election for the New
Yeah,
York Senate seat that he was gonna run against Hillary Clinton, and everybody knew that he would win because he was he's Camelot. He's America's Camelot, right? The Kennedy found family. They're our Camelot. There are King Arthur type people who were supposed to come and save the day, and they
hmm
murdered our president. So our next hope was his son.
yeah, and that's wild how the other Kennedys got so radical because they're even kind of disappointed with RFK, and it's like, well, how did you guys get so radical on the other side? Like, because the
Well,
Kennedys ain't
listen,
perfect. They definitely have
I
some.
think after you see a few people in your family get murdered, you start playing the game and shutting up.
That too. Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a big factor. That could be a lot to do with it. But
You
even
know,
I just remember that one Kennedy, he went off after Trump's State of the Union. He was frothing at the mouth, like going, like, dang, what's wrong with this guy?
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
So
lot of people in their family that's not pleased with what RFK Jr. is doing now either.
mhm.
They're trying to speak out against it, but I think they're just doing it to save their own ass, honestly.
It could be that. It could be just fair for his life.
Because
Or
I
at
think
that
the
Kennedys
Kennedy
aren't
family.
perfect either. They have a
No,
lot
they're
of
not.
dirt behind them.
I don't think they're perfect. No,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
think they have a bigger target on their head than anybody else.
True. Yeah. And it goes back to individualism, like you said, each person is their own person in the Kennedy family.
Right.
It's yeah.
Right. I mean, I was raised Democrat and I was raised Southern Baptist. I'm neither one now. I'm an individual that's an adult that can make my own decisions, and I'm neither one. So people grow up and they don't have to necessarily stick with what the family agrees to either, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And I was rambling about that with genetics is a lot of cop out stuff with like health. Going back to a lot of families, they might have the same diet and eat a lot of stuff, so they might have the same problems. It's not necessarily
Mhm.
genetics. It's just they're
Yeah,
doing the
right.
same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe that too. But I also believe that, like, if you feel guilty every time you eat a brownie or a piece of cake and you're gonna gain weight, that you're definitely gonna gain weight because that's what you believe.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. Energy is
Like,
you're creating a lot
I'll
of
eat the whole
energy.
fucking brownie and I don't feel bad about it, and I ain't gaining no weight.
I eat healthy food
Anyway.
and I ain't like putting on healthy weight. So like we on the same boat. And I believe it wanted to do good for me, but
No,
I mean it's still good to
I
make
eat a
sure.
lot of healthy food. I'm one of the few people I know that actually cooks home cooked meals still.
I need
I
to be
make
better
shit
with
from
that,
scratch.
but I there's something about it. Like I do love like good food though, like good healthy food. Like a lot of people don't like the taste of it, but there's stuff like I love a good salad or um a lot of stuff, fruit, like
Yeah,
I just love chow natural stuff. Yeah, organic.
live food, living food that's not cooked or processed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we eat a lot of live, living fruit and vegetables. That's what I mean by home cooked meals. Like, I make things from scratch. We grow our own foods. We make our own medicines. We live very close to nature, you know. We don't
Mhm.
eat a bunch of preservatives and bullshit,
Yeah.
but I do like a good brownie,
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like it's
and I'm
hard to
not
get
gonna feel
away
bad
from it.
about it.
It really is hard to get away from it, but as long as you don't
No,
too much of anything
it
could kill you.
exactly, and for me, it's not about being hard to get away from something. It's about choices and how you feel about things, you know?
Mhm.
And I don't feel bad for having a brownie once in a while, you know? I'm not gonna feel
Yeah.
bad for having my coffee 3 times a day either. Like, I just don't feel bad about those things, you know? I give myself permission to have little indulgences like that because they're not horrible things, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Especially in moderation. Just
Right. And, yeah, literally anything is too much of anything is a bad thing. Even,
I
like,
might be a little
herbal,
different with
natural
happy juice.
medicines, you still have to treat them with respect. You can't just take a whole shit ton of something. It's
Oh
gonna
yeah.
hurt, you
You
know?
eat more vitamins, man, like it kill you if you eat
Right.
more
Too much
vitamins than it
vitamin
says.
C, yeah, too much vitamin C is a dangerous thing,
Hmm.
right?
So you
So
look at the beauty like air. Air is like we need life for air, but it could also blow you up. Oxygen could blow
right,
you up. It's flammable.
that's right. It's the yin and yang of everything. It's
It
the balance,
is.
yeah. What else you got on 9/11?
I've been thinking about like
Mhm.
you ever listen
Got
to
any
stories of the
theories?
jumpers and like
Yes.
how people always thought it was like just pieces of stuff falling down and it wasn't just like I remember one story, one of the body
No, I
parts
watched
falling
it
from
live
it.
on TV.
I didn't get a lot see a lot of it live. I was
I
in
watched that shit
school.
play out live on TV, so I don't even the people that are saying that it was little pieces of something must not have been old enough to watch the TV and see it happen, because
Well, no, I'm
every
talking
news
about
channel in
some.
the world was watching them people for real jump for their death.
Well, I meant like people on the ground right next to the building, like they thought it was concrete. So, like one person seen a body part, and realized it was actually bodies, and they were splattering on instant
Oh,
impact.
I
Yeah, then
gotcha.
he's like, oh, there's a body, and it's
I
like they're
mean,
on the
how
ground.
horrific, right?
Yeah,
For people that survived this even, how horrific to experience it firsthand right there at ground zero.
yeah.
Terrifying.
Especially when the second it clicks that, like that's not stealing junk falling, that's fucking body
Yeah.
parts. Like, whoa.
I mean, terrible. Terrible event.
Yeah,
So what
it's
other kind of facts do you have about 9/11 being a setup?
okay. Let me we mentioned the whole military operations in the year 2001. I think they had 2 or 3 trainings involving Osama bin Laden and its potential to use airplanes to launch an attack. Not saying, I think the first one they was the first training was presumably around I think Tampa or somewhere in Florida. That was one of the trainings. And so they're using these simulations of what happened before it happened, but then, oh, we could have never seen this happen. Like, there's a lot of so many contradictions on themselves. Just like, oh, but Building 7 fell. Oh, cut the scene. Like, no, it's still up.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
and also, like, because we were watching it play out on TV live, something weird that I caught was that the news people that I was watching announced Building 7 falling, which was literally directly behind them out the window, and it
yeah, that's
hadn't fell
us.
yet.
Yeah, the
They were telling that
BBC.
it fell before it actually fell.
Yep, I think it was like 6 minutes before.
I was like, "What the hell's really going on here?"
Yeah, and I mean, I was kind of young at the time, so they had the speculation. Well, they're speculating it may fall, but then like as every year more you learn and it goes by, you start having these clicks. Like you see the building stuff like free fall, and people talk like loose change. And I was big into Alex Jones, his Road to Tyranny or something, that documentary. But so Loose Change and Road to Tyranny, those are the two documentaries that really kind of sold me. Like, all right, it's not necessarily there's more to it, you know what I mean? Like I ain't gonna say it's just one thing
Mhm.
or the other. It's a collaboration of things like funding the CIA's involvement of terrorist groups, opposed to insiders in the government, the rigging it and the explosives inside. Like you can't I mean, granted, I don't know if those buildings were built to have these explosives inside in case if they ever need to. I never heard anything like that, but the fact that they like, all right, decide to pull it, they didn't up and wire it. They can't go in there. So obviously it's and at first too, when you see the plumes of smoke, granted, there could be a lot of pressure in there causing them. So there's a lot of just like it's so hard like when you're 17 years old watching it live, like coming up with a conclusion, especially at the after. I didn't see the actual live parts. I just seen the replays and what was happening at night because everything done went down, and so I didn't see the jump. I didn't know about that for so long after I was watching documentaries.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a craziest day. Like and
Right.
I feel like there's gonna be another one day soon. Just they need something like that to cover the whole what they've
Mm,
been doing.
I don't think they have that kind of power to pull something like that off anymore.
Maybe not on 9/11, but as far as the invisible stuff like a virus,
Well, I
everything
mean,
you
we
can't
saw
put
what
your
they
hands
did with
on or see,
yeah,
which would
we saw what they
be
did with COVID. But I
cyber
think that's
attacks.
right. I think that's why Trump put specific people in all those different places now, though, too, is to try to cover all the bases to make sure that doesn't happen again, including bio warfare. But because I do feel like that's what that was all about.
My
Um, but in conclusion to 9/11, because this is went about 2 hours now.
oh, Ari, I don't know. I have the clock in front of
Yeah.
me. I was like, man, we've been here for a minute.
Yeah. In
Okay, yeah.
conclusion, what would you like to say about the 9/11 events?
It's I feel all of us Americans who were in unity on September 12th, and then everybody kind of being born and growing up watching how America's turned. I feel we have a opportunity. Like there's gonna be another great unity event, and I think it's gonna be surrounded around the children and all that. But with the 9/11, I feel we're gonna get both justice. I want to see the 28 pages. I want to see everything declassified. Patel, everybody said it should have been out. I want to see these. I want to see it all come out. Like I think it's way past due, just like the JFK, all the other conspiracy theories. Like it's time to unlock it. The world
100%.
needs transparency.
I agree with that. The world needs transparency. Americans need transparency on all levels, on all topics. Um,
Mhm.
we need to learn the truth, even if it's an awful truth to learn, so that we can heal from it and move past it and correct it to make sure it never, ever happens again. And with that, I thank you for being with me. Great
Thank you.
discussion.
Have me
And I
on.
thank all of you for tuning in and watching us. And hit that like button on your way out the door. We'll see you soon.